Hi everyone, my name is Fab and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about a book that has been published in 1985 but has already been considered a modern classic. I'm talking about Perfume by Patrick Suskind. This book has been considered a classic because of the beautiful way it is written. Patrick Suskind has a really amazing way of describing uh, the scent of an era. What he does in this book is something new. Usually in books we are used to see things through the eyes of the character, and in this one instead we see things through his nose. This book is set in France in the 18th century and talks about a man called Jean-Baptiste Grenouille that has an extraordinary olfactory ability. This powerful ability that he has is the way he learns about the world, and every new smell or scent that he perceives, he is able to catalog in his mind. The way he's described this thing is beautiful because in his mind he has like a castle where he has a cellar, and every scent or smell is like a bottle of wine that he can savor when he wants to, and he's able to perceive the smell of everything, even the most molecular smell, if you know what I mean. He's able to perceive a person from far away, and to perceive the smell even of things that you think they don't smell, like glass or other stuff. He himself doesn't smell at all, and this make him weird to other people. Every person that Jean-Baptiste will meet will be cursed in a way when they will abandon him or he will abandon them. This thing about abandonment is probably the center, the core of this book. There is this thing about neglection by people for the way he is not really a sociable person, if you can really say that. He doesn't like people. We can all relate to that most of the time, but anyway. The fact that he doesn't smell, he doesn't really notice this thing until he's grown up. And when he realized this thing, he realized that it's like it doesn't exist, and that's why people don't really acknowledge his presence, because since he doesn't smell, it's like he's invisible to people. And that's a weird concept, but if you think about it, the fact that they don't care about him and don't even notice him made him bitter, and that's what will lead him to become also a murderer. The way Zaskin describes smells is really intriguing, because he can describe how people smell when they were sick and when they didn't wash themselves, because obviously in the 18th century hygiene wasn't a priority. For most part of this book, things are disgusting for what he describes, but it's another way of making literature. This book is also interesting for the way Saskin described the process of creating perfumes. The concept of this book is that this man in Grenouille wants to make a perfume made of the scent of people who emanate the scent of love. And how he wants to do that? Basically, between all these people that he meets every day, one day he smelled this amazing scent, and he doesn't really know where it comes from. So he follow, like a dog will do, this scent until he reaches the house of a girl with red hair that is cutting apricot or plums, I don't remember, some fruits, and he's smelling her, and he really feel like this warm and soft and embracing smell is amazing for him. It's something that he never experienced before, and he think that that is how love should be, like how a person who is loved smell. And he wants that smell because he wants to be loved. He kills this girl and he's trying to take the smell from this girl, but he couldn't, because obviously after he killed her, the smell disappeared. but he can remember the smell, and he catalog the smell in his mind. As I told you before, he has this catalog of smells. But later, his obsession becomes so radical that he wants to make a perfume from people that smell of love, of love, of what he thinks is love. And basically, he does that murdering young girls and taking the smell of them. The way he does that is interesting because he starts working as an apprentice for a perfumer called Baldini. And this is the funny part of the book, because Baldini is a perfumer, and in the past he was really successful for the perfume that he created, because really he's not the inventor of these perfumes. He just stole this from other people, and he told that he created them. And there is his enemy, that is Pellissier, that instead creates a new perfume every season, and is very, very successful. And he can't stand this thing, because he was great in the past and he wants to be great again. So it's really funny the way he wants to make himself great again, and he exploit Grenouille to do this thing, because he noticed that Grenouille has this really great sense of smell, and he can create and combine perfume in his mind just by mixing what he has in this catalog of his mind and creating something beautiful with this smell that he has in his head. And he doesn't even have to use like instruments to do this, because usually a perfumer is very careful. He doesn't want to waste any of these precious elements that he has to create a perfume. And Grenouille doesn't do that. He doesn't waste any of the elements Baldini has in his perfume store. But he does this just with his mind, without measuring anything, just doing it with his instinct. The interesting part comes at that point when Suskind starts to describe the techniques that were used in the past to create a perfume. They are obviously very different from the ones that are used now. That's how he learns to take smell from flowers and other things. But what Grenouille wants to make is to take the smell of every single thing. Like he wants to take the smell of glass, of copper, and he's obsessed by this thing, because his ultimate goal is to take the smell of a person, and he wants to learn how to do that. So after he leaves Baldini, he goes traveling, and he wants to learn more techniques to create perfumes, and that's how he learns to take the smell of other things, and how he learns to take the smell of people. If you expect that this is like a thriller, it's not. It's like an historic literary book. The part about the murders is in the last 170 pages. I don't remember how much. The murders are not really described in detail, so you don't really care that much about this girl that are murdered. It's bad to say it like that, but that's what you feel about this book. I think the author didn't care as well. You just want to show how Grenouille will achieve this goal. This is what I can tell you about this book. But there is more, because when I was reading this book, I found some parallels with other books that I read, like Frankenstein first, and then Psycho. Why? Because I watched the movie a long time ago when it came out, and I really enjoyed the movie. It's really close to this book. But the different thing about that one was how the character is into the movie adaptation, because he's really good looking and nice. He's also innocent, or innocent looking in a way. Instead, in this book, is ugly. He has a hunchback and a crippled foot, and I think he has scars. And in my mind, I was figuring this character like Igor from Frankenstein. But going back to Psycho, I had the same feeling that I had reading Psycho, because in the Psycho movie adaptation shows a nice guy, and the book shows a really ugly guy that is not really sympathetic, if you know what I mean. And the same with this one. Well, for most of the book you are sympathetic with him because you want to know how the story goes on, and you want to know if he will make a perfume from a human being. Regarding Frankenstein, the parallel that I had between these two books is that there is this kind of obsession in the creation of something, and both require some kind of sacrifice and some gruesome stuff. In Frankenstein is obviously the use of corpses to create a human being that becomes a monster, even if we know that the real monster in Frankenstein is the creator. And the same is with this book, because Grenouille is obsessed with the creation of this perfume that we can consider like a monster because it's made with dead people. But at the same time, we know that the real monster is him because he's the murderer. So this is the parallel I got from these two stories: the obsession about the creation of something, and also about the fact that how the character was described was like Igor in Frankenstein. This is what this book is about. It's beautifully written. I really love the writing of this author. And another thing that Suskind made me realize is the fact that we can't really live without the sense of smell, because we can stop other senses and live without them. But we can't really stop the sense of smell, because if you stop it, you basically die. You have to breathe, so you can't stop smell. All I can tell you is that this book ends in a way that I didn't expect. When I was reading the last part of this book, I told myself, what the f***? That's what you will think too when you read this book. I won't say what, but you have to check out for yourself. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. There are more reviews coming, and I will see you into the next one. Bye.